Hey guys, it's Calumet and welcome to the final episode and final video of Classic Doctor Who Reaction to The Enemy of the World Parts 5 and 6. The conclusion of this Doctor Who serial from Season 5. I am very excited about this. So, while our last time was, we've discovered that Salamander is hiding something. There's these people underground that are doing something for him. Apparently the surface is either too dangerous for them or he's making the whole thing up. I'm not entirely sure. My money is on that he's just faking everything. And obviously we'll find out what he's actually doing. The Doctor is now in a predicament when he needs to impersonate Salamander and find out what Salamander is actually doing. Get absolute proof that Salamander is evil, because we had multiple evidence, but it's not concrete proof according to the Doctor. Jamie and Victoria are captured. We didn't see them at all in part 4. They got captured in part 3, so we have to find out if they will be rescued. I'm assuming they will. Ken is so hell-bent on trying to kill Salamander, and the Doctor is just having none of it. He doesn't want to do that at all. So I am very much looking forward to discovering what is going to happen, because this story so far has been very interesting. Last part was the oomph that I talked about that this story needed, and I'm hoping that these next two parts are satisfactory for me. They're satisfying me in a good conclusion. I am really wondering if the Doctor and Salamander are going to be in the same room together. I mentioned this in the first video I did on this story, that if they're going to be in the same room together, and if they do, how that's going to go down. I'm really interested, but without further ado, let's see the conclusion of the story. There we go. I'm very excited indeed. I'm really interested to see how this finishes up, this story. I've really enjoyed Patrick Troughton as the Doctor so far. I find him really interesting. But he also has done a really good job. I keep saying this, but he's done a very good job at playing both Salamander and the Doctor. And it's very odd for this being my first Classic Who reaction, how a Doctor is having to play two parts. So
stay where you are. I've been looking forward
I was right,
to
here's
you
him.
again. Over there. No, not you. It's amazing how alike you and Salamander are. Incredible.
I mean, almost as if
It
they're the same
the
person.
first time we met, but now even Salamander himself would think he was looking in the mirror. Why? You want this man to impersonate Salamander? Why?
That's ridiculous. I couldn't possibly do that.
But you were preparing to impersonate him, weren't you?
Well, yes.
All right then. Why?
Because Salamander holds my two friends prisoner, and I was going to attempt to rescue them.
And at the same time, get evidence that would expose Salamander as a traitor, blackmailer, and murderer.
Quite an ambitious plan. How do you know such evidence exists?
It exists in Salamander's records.
Oh, yes, I know why you want Salamander out of the way. You hate him because he exposed your profitable sideline of misusing public money.
After he'd got rid of Denish, that is.
And so gain control of another zone.
Oh, it was
Where is this
Dennis.
file?
I thought it was Dennis.
Ferrier has it. Salamander's food taster.
Ferrier. But she's dead.
Dead? But how?
She was shot by one of Bennick's guards escaping arrest.
And I do things my way.
Well, that guy was useless.
Really, as head of security, you should have more reliable guards.
He really should. Their guys are pretty useless.
Leader Salamander.
Still inside, sir.
Let me know the moment the doors are open.
Yes, sir.
So much more interesting when our prisoners are stopped.
Oh, God.
I've told you before. I will not have anything to do with violence.
And what about your two friends? Are you going to leave them to the tender mercies of Salamander?
No, I am not. May I?
It will save them with no violence.
Then,
Trust me.
I think
I'm
you
the Doctor.
agree that at this moment your life is in my hands.
What are you doing?
Hold it.
All right. Mr. Bruce
Okay.
isn't going to shoot anyone, are you? Honest and reasonable.
Go on.
I gave you back that gun because I trust you. Now I want you to trust me.
You must be a complete fool or very clever.
Well, I'm afraid you will have to make up your mind to that right away.
What do you hope to gain by this gesture?
Your confidence.
I must be mad to trust you. I only hope your impersonation of Salamander fools Bennick. If it doesn't, we're in dead trouble. Here, take this.
Probably shouldn't be telling the
those two in the
guards this,
caravan.
because they could, you know,
Oh, and
betray them and tell Bennett.
watch the girl. Come on.
Watch the girl specifically. You took out one of our guards. A guard who was very interested in her.
I placed the new food cases on the conveyor. Detail some men to unload them. Then make a report on schedule 7.
And yeah, Colin wants to go up to the surface with Salamander, so...
Jones, Morris, Hunt. Now remember, if there's any contamination showing up at all on the register, you must tell me immediately.
Have you ever thought what would happen to us if Salamander didn't come back from the surface one day?
No, he always comes back. And talk like that isn't healthy. I've told you about this before, Colin.
You can live in a dream world if you want to.
Morale is important down here.
Reality is important too. Facing facts.
Colin.
Yes, all right, Anne.
Colin's getting frustrated.
He's the best man I've got.
Why do you think everybody else has to be an idiot too?
You don't let people think, Colin. Swan's all right.
Don't think that's right. Just work, sleep, eat if there's enough to go round. Like worms under the earth, sightless worms wriggling about without hope, without purpose.
It isn't like that.
Isn't it? All this? Every day I ask myself, what are we doing down here?
You've never doubted him before.
I don't know. I don't say I doubt him. But just once, Mary, just once, I want to see with my own eyes what's going on up there.
Stand by to make your report,
Careful.
Swan.
Fragile. What is that?
Reaching full power here, Swan.
Look at the bit of headline there. There! Control yourself, Swan. You've gone mad. Holiday liner sinks.
I hate holidays!
Global war. Radiation everywhere.
He is
How
tricking
can there
them.
be holiday liners? Tell me how. You've
knew
lied
it.
to us, haven't you? Haven't you? Don't think I could expose you to that sort of thing. Think of Mary and the other women. You could have told me at least.
I decided not to.
You should
What a
have told me.
manipulator.
I thought it was best.
Why not me?
Why am I finding this funny?
He turned me down. Why not me?
Why?
Why not me?
We can have a little talk.
Oh, you ass.
You're in the Australasian zone.
You must have been a nasty little boy.
Oh, I was. But I had a very enjoyable childhood.
Oh! Wait, how the fuck did that happen? That was so weirdly cut.
So.
All right, yes. Who's behind you? Is it Giles Kent?
Oh, so they're here, are they?
Salamander,
No.
I thought you were in record.
Have they told you anything yet?
Not yet.
Very well, Bruce and I will take over. You may go, and take a little puppy dog with you,
Maria is dead.
Dead?
You've had her murdered too, have you?
Why, you?
Oh, Victoria, don't hit me! Hit your old friend the doctor, would you? I wouldn't leave you in the tender mercy of Salamander.
The doctor?
You don't believe me? Oh. Huh. Only you made me leave it in the TARDIS.
TARDIS? TARDIS? What's that?
Uh-oh.
He hasn't come out, sir.
Uh-oh! Bennett is gonna find out!
up there?
All right. I think I can help you.
So
I'll
she...
draw
Oh,
the guard off and leave
God.
you alone.
You think you can do it?
Yes, I think so.
But I thought
I have
you
a
said we
feeling
weren't
what she
going to
might
go.
do, but I don't want
We're
to
not
say
going
yet.
to attack.
It's very hard work, you know, bringing all
Yes,
this.
I know that. This way, then?
You sure you won't change your mind, huh?
Ah, poor Swan. Well, she got away quite easily. So, Kent's now going to go to the research station and try and find Bruce, or some sort of evidence against Salamander. Yeah, it is Swan. Yeah. So why didn't Salamander kill him?
A man named Salamander.
Oh, and that's the cliffhanger. Right, so Salamander has killed... No, he hasn't killed. He's very much alive. But he... Why didn't Salamander kill him? That's very odd. He knocked him out on the surface near where Kent, where all they were based, where they were just hostages. And she, I can't remember, I can never remember her name, but she's made her way out and has found Swan outside. Right, and now he's on the surface. And the guy Colin wants to be in the surface as well and try and find a way out. So now we don't know where Salamander is. And now Brick, whatever his name is, he now is finding out that Salamander is still downstairs and they came free, but he was with Jamie and Victoria. But now the doctor, what the doctor did actually was very, very smart. I really liked that, how he pretended to be Salamander in front of Jamie and Victoria to make Bruce understand that Salamander is not who he seems to, not what he seems to be. So that was very clever. I'm really enjoying this. And now we have one more part to go, and we have to see how this story ends, how Salamander is brought to justice. Because, of course, he's going to be brought to justice, just how is he going to? I'm very, very, very excited. So, without further ado, guys, let's get to part 6 of The Enemy of the World. Here we go. Part 6, the conclusion of this story. I'm very excited. I've enjoyed this story throughout, and the last 2 parts I've actually really enjoyed. I think part 4 was probably my favourite so far, just because of the twist, because I wasn't expecting that. I enjoyed last part, and part 1 I loved as well, because it was the introduction of the story, and first time I'm watching Patrick Troughton. So I really hope this ends well. I really hope it ends well. Is that another entrance?
The other explanation
Now, wait a minute. Are you seriously trying to tell me without a shred of evidence that Salamander is attacking the world with natural disasters?
Well, he must be. Yes, that's what I believe.
But it's beyond belief. How could he possibly?
I'm sure we'll find proof in the records room.
Oh, no.
What?
Damn it.
What?
Yes.
No. Salamander's place. Danger.
So now he's found out that Salamander isn't real. I mean, he's got a fake, an imposter. So she's about to go and find out where all the other people are for the first time, because she has no idea they exist. I don't.
Really, Bannock,
Ugh.
I'm beginning to wondering why I pay you such a monstrously high salary, worrying me over trifles.
I think he knows.
By the way,
Yes?
the door to the record room was jammed. It was all right when you came out, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, it won't open now. Can I have your key?
I'm going mad. I left it in there. What a fool.
It's all right, I'll use the emergency key.
Yes, do that, will you, right away. Oh, please don't wait for these. A dozen, eh?
A dozen.
Will you tell me why 30 people are catered for here?
It's all coming together.
Prisoners, listen, there are others. There are more people down the shaft. Salamander's kept us down there, prisoners. Years of it. Promise you'll bring them to the surface. Swear it. You've got to swear it.
So he's now dead. Man, Salamander really should have just killed him right there instead of leaving him to die.
Security escort to come to the interrogation.
Redhead, is that clear?
Redhead.
Redhead. It's our emergency call.
Sorry.
Is that your wife?
Now, Bruce, you're going to get your proof, but I want you to do one thing.
What?
I want you to take my 2 friends to the gates and see they get away all right.
Well, what are you going to do?
And you're to go straight to the TARDIS as soon as you...
Oh,
wait a
what
minute,
is
Doctor.
this TARDIS?
Well, it's a sort of space house. Please eat something, Colin.
I will later. Right, this time I'm going to have it out with Salamander.
No, it's not salamander.
I've come to help you.
Oh my god.
It's a girl, a human being! What's the matter with you? Are you all mad? Get back! Get back!
Well, well done to Colin.
You see? Radiation.
That's fake. I'm telling you. It's fake.
This machine's a fake. Is this ruler contaminated? Look, see those bulbs? There's an invisible ray. Break it, and it works the meter.
But Salamander
He builds it. He always uses it when he comes down.
Yes, I know, to try and convince you for some reason or other that there's radiation above ground.
Wait. Where are you going?
Leader Salamander's orders.
What orders?
He's released us.
I wasn't informed.
I was.
Where are the release papers?
Are you questioning my word?
No, of course not, sir, but there are strict rules.
Rules? Really? You forget. I'm World Security Controller. I make rules and break them. And men, Captain.
After what you've told me, you must confront the man who started all this. Face to face.
I'm liking this so far. Oh, Kent's here. Oh. So you opened it up.
Just stand guard and try and keep your wits about you.
Yes, sir.
Now, find the goddamn evidence. So where is Salamander?
Giles Kent,
Oh,
what are you doing here?
there he is.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this meeting.
How did you get into the research center?
Oh, you know me. There isn't a pass in the world I can't get my hands on if I put my mind to it.
You won't find it so easy getting out.
Really? Well, we'll see. I'm not on my own this time. I've got friends here with me. And between us, we're going to fix you once and for all.
You always were a tiresome man, Kent.
I'm going to be more than tiresome this time. My nerves are a bit shaky at the moment.
We must get in there somehow.
We can't without the emergency key, and Salamander has it in there.
We could burn our way in.
Never.
Why not?
It's an X-structure alloy. You'd hardly scratch the surface.
We'll have to try it. Get the gear up here. Fast.
Never get away with it. Oh, that's good coming from you. But don't you realize you're dispensable? And the world is going to get along fine without you from now on. And now I'm back and you're finished. What's that?
They're breaking down the door.
Yep, yeah.
They don't appear to be having much success.
It's not coming, sir. Never mind. Keep at it.
Oh, they're going up. So we'll head into a
You're trapped, aren't you?
into a cluster.
Fool, Salamander. You don't think I've forgotten already, do you?
What?
I've been with you too many times in this room in the past not to know where this leads to. A little bolt hole. Halfway down the tunnel. A passage out to the fields and enough explosives down there to stop you or your thugs following me.
Well, that's very interesting, Mr. Kent. Why didn't you tell me that before?
Oh, it's the doctor!
Oh, I'm afraid it is. Oh, look, here's another surprise for you. Look behind you.
You've come just in time.
You and Salamander were in it together.
Oh, Kent, you little bastard!
For an endurance test. The next person they saw was Salamander, who told them that an atomic war had started.
You see, Kent.
Kent and Salamander were in it the whole time.
Kill you.
You kept us down there like animals.
Why? Why did you do
Yeah,
it to
why
us?
wouldn't Salamander want to kill Kent when he's killed everyone else?
And we fooled you all.
You didn't fool me, Kent.
You didn't suspect me.
Any man who resorts to murder as eagerly and as rapidly as you must be suspect.
It looks like a sort of cave.
It's the escape route. Salamander.
Oh, there he is. The
I
actual
wonder if he knows
Salamander.
Kent's on his way.
Still no good, sir. Come on, men. Can't you increase the power? Yes, sir. Get back! About time for us, sir.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Are you running away, you little squirm?
I demand a trial, Bruce. Fair trial.
What a nasty little man you are, to be sure. Forrester, I want all research personnel detained. And you can begin with Bennick here. Take him away.
Bennick. Haha, Bennick getting his comeuppance.
Bruce!
Oh, what a twist this
Bruce,
was.
can you hear?
You always swear a fool, will you?
Hmm.
Wait a minute. They'll be after both of us now.
Oh, no, they won't.
And I tell you, they know.
So what do you want me to do, huh? Bury our differences, hmm? I didn't need you once, I still don't need you. You were useful once.
Not anymore.
No! No!
You won't get away from me, Kent.
Working together in secret, but Kent wanted to betray Salamander and take his place, so now they're gonna have it out. What a twist. Very cunning of the Doctor to be suspicious of him throughout the entire story. He kept saying who was evil. Man, I wasn't expecting Kent to be evil this entire time. And there goes Kent.
Die with me.
No! No!
Ah! Yeah, I don't care that they're dead. Good riddance. I mean, it'd be great if you could say them and put in jail forever, but...
The people underground in the deep shelter.
They may have been killed.
Oh no!
But that's not your fault. You couldn't have done more.
There's a TV monitor screen in there.
They're all dead.
There must be a link to the deep shelter.
Oh my god. Oh no, they're still alive. They're still alive.
There's a tunnel from outside. We can get to it outside the research station.
But that's probably been destroyed by the explosion.
We'll get to them somehow.
Look out!
Get out.
Gates, come on, we must go.
Go, get out of there. Oh, they're there at the TARDIS. They're safe. Hi, Doctor.
Thought you were never coming.
That is a Doctor, right? Yeah, okay. I was to say, that might be Salamander.
Told you it wouldn't be
Wait.
long. You worried too much.
Wait, maybe, is that actually Salamander?
You see, after the explosion, Doctor, we didn't know what to do. You said to come back here, which we did. But I'm
That's
sure
Salamander. That's not the Doctor.
Can we start straight away?
You said we would never to touch the controls. Quite right, Jamie.
Ah, I knew it!
Thank you. You're doing so well impersonating me. I thought I might return the compliment.
No!
And now I'm going to kill you.
No, you don't.
Go on, get him out of the TARDIS. Oh! Oh, bye, Salamander. Oh, and that's it! That's the end of the story! Oh! No! I'm never gonna know what happens next until I get to the next story in season 5. Oh my god. What a story. Well, that was The Enemy of the World. Oh boy. Such a good introduction for Classic Who for me in these reactions. I could not have gotten a better story. I think there will be better stories, but I think for a first reaction into Classic Who, I enjoyed that the whole way through. I think the twist was the best thing about it for me. And I'll never actually know, because that ended on such a cliffhanger, I'll never actually know if they ever got out. Though I guess that doesn't actually really matter, because you're going to just assume that they did get out, unless it does get continued in the next story, which maybe we'll eventually get to at some point, hopefully. But there's so many stories, we may never get to it, maybe, but you can only hope. But I think what a fun story, but a very interesting story as well. I thoroughly enjoyed that the whole way through. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go through all the characters that I can remember. I'm going to get the cast list so I can know all the characters when I talk about them. But I loved that. I really did. I really did like that. So, Patrick Troughton as the Doctor, and also Salamander. I think Patrick Troughton did a fantastic job in this episode, in this story. I need to say story instead of episode. But I think he did such a great job in this story, playing two parts, being able to play the Doctor but also Salamander. Because normally you get episodes like, for example, okay, an example, Mickey and Ricky in Age of Steel and Rise of the Cybermen. How Noel Clarke had to play two different characters in a way, one that was kind of like Mickey, and then another person who was like the opposite of Mickey in some senses. So he had to play a different part in a sense, so and he did that, and I think he did that fine. But Patrick Troughton did such a great job as Salamander. Like in that last part, you could never tell, apart from when he's talking to Jamie Victoria, you could never tell, especially in that final scene where we're between Ken and the Doctor, who was pretending to be Salamander. That was so well done. I absolutely loved that, and how Ken revealed how he was actually working with Salamander, but is trying to overthrow him. It's such a nice little twist at the end of the story, because throughout the whole story, Ken was so wanting. Not Ken, sorry. The Doctor was questioning whether Salamander was as bad as he thought, though he was like, this guy is bad, but what is the evidence to it? So, and it is quite funny how you can think about it, how Salamander killed everybody who he threw away apart from Ken, and you never think about it until this part where he says, like, he talks about how he should throw it away and stuff like that, and they were working together, and then he threw him out but never killed Ken. So yeah, it was very odd. So such a nice twist. I loved that. The Doctor was great. Jamie Victoria, I did like. I think I liked Jamie a lot, especially I think in part 2. Part 2 was it when he tricked Salamander into getting into a job. I think that was my favorite part with him. Victoria, I was fine with. She didn't really do anything else. She didn't actually really do anything in the story apart from the whole kitchen part in part 3. But she didn't really do much else, so I wasn't that bothered. Bennett was so hateable, and I loved it. He was so hateable, but at the end he was taken away because he's an arsehole basically, and he tried to run away. And yeah, that was done really well. Dennis was, I kept thinking Dennis, but Dennis. It says here Dennis, so not Danish. So it is what I was saying, but it was spelled differently. So he wasn't that much. He wasn't very important. Neil was Fedorin, who was killed in part 3. Yeah, he was killed in part 3 for failing to kill Dennis, and they both died in that episode. Ferreira, I think that's her name, was interesting. She didn't really do a whole lot, but the last part she was like finding out Kent wasn't really who he says he was and stuff like that. So I felt like that was I think that was handled quite well. What else did I like? Who else did I like? You had Colin, who was very small part because he only turned up in part 4, but a very interesting character where he constantly wanted to go up to the surface but was saying no and stuff like that from Salamander. And Swan wanted to go up to the surface and found out that Salamander who isn't who he said he was. So that was very, very interesting. But I think that every character I loved to an extent. Bruce, where he became this guy who trusted the Doctor near the end of the story, and then found out Salamander isn't who he said he was. So I was right. They had no idea that Salamander was doing any of this underground, apart from Ken, who helped him out in the first place. So that was done. I think that was done really well. Astrid, that was. Oh, Ferrell was the girl that died. Astrid is who I'm thinking of. Astrid was the woman from the beginning. So yeah, she was okay, I guess. But yeah, man, that was But just in terms of characters, I think the story and the characters, they were really well done. I really, really enjoyed the story the whole way through. My favourite parts were probably like parts 4 and 6 were probably my favourite parts of the story. I liked part 1. Troughton running down the beach and then jumping into the sea was so good. What a start to an episode. 2 minutes in and I'm already like, I get who this Doctor is and I'm loving it. It's great. The plot I really enjoyed. There was a lot of twists and turns, especially in the second half, where it turned from what I thought it was just a dictator wanted to take over the world by making up these random disasters or predicting the future. That's what I had a theory of what it was going to be, but then it turned into this thing where Salamander was living had two things going on, the stuff on the surface but also down below. He was working for them, I guess. He wanted these people, or he tricked them. No, he was working with Kent. Yeah, Kent and them were doing that whole thing. But I think that was very interesting, and I think the Doctor did a really good job in this episode, in this story. I found him so interesting, and I enjoyed Patrick Troughton's performance in the story. And again, like I said, how he does so well between like the two characters, Salamander and the Doctor. I think that was done so well. But yeah, as a plot, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very simple plot at first, but then it got so complex at the end. And I really, really was interested the whole way through. It never bored me. The only times I was really bored was the scenes with Victoria in episode 3, in part 3 of this story. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed it almost the whole way through. I thought there was such a great story to get into and to start off, because it's not a very complex story to begin with. You slowly get into it. Like I said in part 1, you have to really pay attention, and I felt like I did that really well. When it's so different from New Who, it's so different, but as a story and a plot, I loved it so much. Music I didn't find like too impactful, but there was a lot of music pieces I liked. The chase scene in the first part I loved. The underground theme, like for the people underground, their theme, whenever Salamander came in or when it cut to them, I really liked. It was very distinct and very, you knew what was going on when it came on, so it was very nice. But music overall I really liked. It's what I expected from 60s television music and stuff like that. So I loved it. I really did. I thought it was really, really good. What else could I talk about? Direction, I thought it was fine. There was a lot of transitions I really liked. It was very well directed. It was very well staged as well. Costumes and design I really liked, especially all the guards as well. I think that was very, very cool. Other than that, I don't think there's really much else to talk about. So I guess I need to give a conclusion and rating out of 10. This is gonna be really hard because I don't know what I know there's a very positive story. I really like this story, but it's hard to compare it to New Who, how I rate those episodes, because this is so different in how it's styled and how it's structured. So I guess I had to really come up with not a new ranking, but sort of a ranking for like how I judge classic Who stories, So I really liked the story. I thought all the characters are well done. The plot I really liked, and it became way more complex by the end of it. So I just loved it. I really did. Is it the best classic Who story I've seen out of a couple I've seen? No, because I think I've seen Genesis of the Daleks, and I've seen Planet of Spiders, which is John Pertwee's regeneration story, and I've seen stuff like the first ever story of Doctor Who, and then the Daleks I've seen, and the 5 Doctors I've seen as well. So a few classic stories I have seen, but this was very much the most interesting classic Who story I've seen in terms of just one random story, not in terms of one of the most important stories in Doctor Who's history, but as just a story that you're with a doctor, he has a problem and he has to find out what is going on all the way to the end. So I think as an introduction to this whole series I'm going to do, I thought great choice. So I'm going to give this a 8 out of 10 as a story. I think it's a very fun story and it's a very interesting story. It could go up as I go along, I think, but I think this story was very, very, very good. It's not... The first half was very simple. It was about a dictator doing this weird stuff. But then the second half I really, really, really enjoyed. And then the whole twist with Ken and Salamander and stuff like that. But I loved it. I really did. 8 out of 10 I think is a really good rating. It's a good to great story, I think. And I think that's a good rating for it. So whatever you guys think of it, let me know. I'm really interested to see how people enjoy this series, but also what you guys think of the story as well, because I'm really interested to see what people think of this story. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction to The Enemy of the World. Now let's go find out what story we're going to be reacting to next, because I'm actually very excited for this. So I will see you in a second. So here we go. We're on the page here. Enemy of the World we've just reacted to. So now we're going to find out. I'm just going to make sure that the settings are all good. Yep. Alright. That seems all good. Right, let's find out what next story we're going to have. And it is Silver Nemesis. 3 episodes starring Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor. First broadcasted in November. Right. So the next episode and story we'll be reacting to is the Silver Nemesis. The next story we shall be reacting to is Silver Nemesis, which is 3 episodes. So that actually might just be one whole reaction. But since it's 3 episodes, I might just do it in one whole big video. Because the way I wanted to structure it, if it's an even number of stories, then I'll do 2 at a time. If it's like 4, I'll do 2 at a time and stuff like that. But with these ones, when it's just 3 episodes, then I'll just react to it in one whole go. So yeah, yeah. I'll see you next time for the Silver Nemesis. I have to see, obviously, if it's actually available. So yeah, next story will be the Silver Nemesis. So, I'll see you then.